Hey, welcome to For the Story, the only a cappella podcast.
That's right.
No musical instruments are used during this episode.
But you might be fooled into thinking they were. Ding dong ding dong. We were talking about this. We were talking about this video that Ash found like years ago of this all a cappella like metal band.
Van Canto.
And they're terrible. And they did this cover of Battery and they're like, battery, battery.
I can't even like keep it going.
It's so good. This is the one guy. It's you gotta find that, and I'll drop in a clip of it. I don't think we can get sued if nobody listens to our podcast
or that band.
Yeah. Dang, dang, dang.
It won't be a cappella anymore if we do that, though.
Yeah,
that's the thing is our
true.
integrity is on the line.
Yeah.
Here.
Wait, is it a cappella if you're playing a clip of somebody being a cappella, or is the instrument the clip? Look, there's a really fine line, okay? We can't damage our integrity as the only a cappella podcast. I guess it'd be a cappello, right? That's the thing. I think that's how it works. Speaking of, we gotta watch Pitch Perfect, dude.
We gotta watch all the Pitch Perfects.
Oh yeah, I think there's 4 of them.
Literally, Camille independently asked me, like, "Hey, can we watch all the Pitch Perfects?"
People like those movies, dude.
I already promised Avery you can stop by for one.
Yeah, yeah. Seriously, like
favorite.
Seriously, people actually really like those movies. I remember I saw the first one. Mm-hmm. I think I've seen the second one.
Okay,
but the first one actually has some like merit to it. And okay. I think I saw it at like an age when like I was susceptible to dumb shit. I think too.
Okay, that could have been any age, Avery.
Yeah, you got me there. But like,
sorry, you left it way too open for me, man. I could not. Okay,
right, there we
dealing
go.
with some man business.
Yeah, I did. That's right. I'm just gonna leave it there. I actually had to turn a knob on the interface, but I had to deal with some man businesses. So, thank you for saying it, so I don't have to prove it to everyone.
Dude, Avery's a guy. All right,
I'm a man. You can take your girly shit elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't take naps.
Ooh, I should have said the only cat girl podcast.
Oh man, it'll be another 2 weeks before we get another chance. We'll totally forget that by then.
Oh God, yeah. But we are a movie podcast.
We are, aren't we?
We collect a smattering of movies that we watch over the week, sometimes with a theme, sometimes without.
This time with a theme looser than others, but I was in charge of the theme this time, so that might be why.
It makes perfect sense if you think about it.
So the whole idea was it made a little bit more sense around the new year, but it's now fully 2 weeks into the new year. But that's okay, because it took us a long time to hunt these movies down.
Yep.
For the most part. And then we changed them up midway through.
Yeah.
Due to my decent planning.
Yeah, it was not bad. Yeah, I like the concept.
Good concept.
So itself.
Let's roll it out here. Basically, the whole idea was that we were going to watch movies that took place, not came out, but took place in the year 2021. Mm-hmm. We got 2/3 of the way there with 3 movies. We were going to do 4, but we just didn't have enough time, and we subbed one of them out for Freaky, which we're going to talk about up front. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got some good ones. I think I remember the names of all of them. We watched Seeking a Friend at the End of the World, mm-hmm. which it could have taken place in any year, but that's fine. We watched Johnny Mnemonic, Johnny Platonic.
Johnny Platonic.
Oh, you had a great joke about that.
Yep, I've already ruined it.
Yeah, damn. Too late.
Yeah,
there was like a love plot, and Ash said they should have remained Johnny Platonic.
I think it helped that it was in the middle of the movie and like a irrelevant scene to that romance.
Yeah.
Then we also watched The
Real Steel, which actually I think took place in 2020, but I think we decided it was close enough because we've talked about that movie a couple times and made jokes about it.
It's hard not to.
Yeah. But yeah, so before we really get into it, if you guys haven't yet, take a second to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It really helps push us up those charts, I guess.
Also, it's the only thing we can eat.
Yeah, and is 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
It's been a while since we've gotten another one.
So please.
I actually think we got one today.
We're starving.
Thank you.
For attention.
Yeah.
That too, though.
I'm drunk with power.
On power.
With power.
So yeah, the first movie that we watched right out the gate, we're gonna get right into it. Is it's
Can I give an honorable mention real quick?
yeah, which one?
Extraordinary.
Shit, I totally forgot about that.
The Irish movie. I just we watched it and we liked it, and so I wanted to make sure we brought it up.
Extraordinary. It had like remarkably good camera work for a really simple movie, and it worked really well. It was about this lady who had psychic powers, and they had to like get all these jokes. Dude, you just laid an egg, bro.
It's fine.
It was your AirPods. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was storing those for later. In my egg pouch. But yeah, so she has she can see ghosts, and like this really Irish guy who you can't understand. Well, none of the characters you could understand except for that one guy.
This one we did have subs on for, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because we've been watching some movies on Plex lately, and while Plex is an excellent platform, let me tell you what, it doesn't have subs.
It doesn't. Well, I mean, it could, but it's way more work.
Yeah, I think you need to download a subtitle file and like upload it with. And I think a lot of torrents do come with subtitle files, but
too bad I didn't torrent anything. Avery, what the shit, dude?
What do you think the NSA is listening? What do you think?
I think
Jeff
NPR
Bezos
is listening.
You think Jeff Bezos is listening? You think NPR is?
Yeah, dude, the NPR,
big NPR
has tapped my wires.
Yeah,
okay,
well.
But yeah, no, it's weird because some of them do have subtitle tracks that are in the file that I upload onto Plex, and it doesn't come up.
Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be some workaround, because we wanted to watch Shin Godzilla, or at least I have, because I've heard Shin Godzilla is really good, but it's all in Japanese, and it's on our good friend Ryan's Plex. Which is an extremely exclusive streaming service.
Yeah, Ryan's Plex. Very few people get the honor.
It's a gold tier, platinum tier,
you
actually. You
have to be a billionaire to get on there.
Yeah, that's right. You actually have to be a billionaire who leads a boardroom filled with billionaires.
Yeah, and you also have to have you
have to have an @harvard.com email domain.
And you have to have worked in the inner city I'm making fun of Kamala Harris's plan for education.
Kamala?
Yeah. Where she's like, all right, so you have to be a Fulbright scholar. You have to work in like a underprivileged neighborhood for 3 years. And then we're going to get rid of $5,000 off of your student debt. And it's like, what? Huh?
That's a terrible plan.
It's a bad plan, dude.
That's also really arbitrary and specific, but
super specific.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so while we're becoming Fulbright scholars,
nice. Finally.
Yeah, finally. I've been just working towards it.
Proud of me.
Your dad's gonna be so plex of you.
It's gonna be. My dad's gonna freaking buy Plex.
Damn,
for me,
dude. So we wanted to watch Shin Godzilla. Speaking of Kamala Harris, like what? like, this doesn't make any sense.
It's a solid transition. I don't know how or why.
Yeah, I don't know how we got there, but there's no subtitles on Plex, so we're gonna have to find a different way to watch that. And I don't know how that's gonna be, because I don't understand Japanese, unfortunately.
I do.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know like a single word. I know how to say like thank you.
Ononoko
like, arigato.
Oyoideimasu. I'm pretty sure that means the boy swims. Otoko noko wa.
That's the sequel to Brahms the Boy 3. I don't know why we're stalling. We have like tons of content.
So much to talk about.
We have still like
sorry.
So we watched Freaky, who was directed by the guy who wrote and directed, I think interchangeably, Happy Death Day 1 and 2.
He didn't write the first one.
But he directed the first Happy Death Day and wrote and directed the second one.
Right.
And the second one was the totally wacko one, which excited us a lot.
Yeah.
Like we watched that and it was like the first time we had felt alive. Yeah, at least for me. I won't speak for you.
Well, it was early quarantine, and I put it on because I'm like, oh, Avery's gonna hate this. I knew what the premise was, and I'm like, oh, college girl.
No, I like slashers. I like that kind of thing.
But you hate teenagers.
I don't hate teenagers.
You hate movies with teenagers. You're always yelling at me for watching teenage rom-coms.
You watch bad teenage rom-coms. That's what it is. It's not that I hate teenagers.
I don't hear the difference. It sounds like you're saying the same thing.
I think I hate teenagers when they are shitty and remind me of shitty things I did when I was a teenager.
Dark.
Yeah. But accurate.
Yeah, probably.
Everyone did shitty things when they were a teenager. But
I waited till my early 20s
to get real shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like yeah, I guess I kind of did too. But so Freaky was that same guy. What was his name?
Man, do I not remember.
Yeah, neither do I. But he's great.
He's great.
Shout out to you. We'll add it in post.
I'm not doing that.
So I'm not fucking doing that.
But no, he's continuing in the vein of Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day was a slasher that meets Groundhog Day,
which is awesome idea. Mm-hmm. Really awesome idea. And the movie ended up being really fun for it. Uh-huh. So like these odd crossovers he's doing with like these classic tropes like Groundhog Day. And now he's doing Freaky Friday with Freaky, where it's a teenage girl who gets murdered by a serial killer and they swap bodies. So the serial killer's in her body and she is in Vince Vaughn's body.
Hell yeah.
And I can't believe I'm saying I saw a movie with Vince Vaughn where he was perfectly cast.
Oh my God. He was
When's the last time?
Oh, well, you can't just say Vince Vaughn was perfectly cast. They also picked the shortest cast of teenagers ever to make him look so menacing
he looked
and huge.
Gigantic.
He's like 6 feet tall, but like every person was like 5'2".
Yeah, they picked a really good. Yeah, they really did do that.
Yeah.
They made everyone look really small and they made him look enormous, which really worked.
Yeah, it made him totally seem like Jason.
I didn't even notice that until you said that. And it was just like, wow, yeah, he did seem seriously enormous.
Because he's somewhere between 6 foot 6'2".
Yeah, he's that's pretty big.
He's pretty tall, but he's not quite as menacing.
Yeah.
Like he looked like
and they dressed him all in black and he looked all like old and haggard. That might just be him now.
Yeah, no, he's just off a bender.
Yeah, right. But he was
just
great.
Crashed a wedding.
Yeah, he just years of wedding crashing catches up to you, bro.
I'm gonna choke on my beer. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So they I don't know. There's not really too much to really delve into other than that. They did a really good job with the cast. This was like a prime example of a really cheap movie that had a really snappy script and it cost like $6 million.
$6 million, yeah.
Which is so nothing.
Yeah, and they did perfectly with it. I mean, like there wasn't any need for CGI, so that didn't look cheesy.
There was like one scene when Vince Vaughn stabs her with the dagger, and like it's supposed to be this ancient mystical dagger that does Freaky Friday shit, and like it like the camera zooms out and it like all of the grass falls away and there's like a pyramid, but that's like the only CG shot in the entire movie.
Yeah,
everything else was just very character driven, very script forward.
And then I would also say that the kills were quality. The
kills were so good.
Yeah, the kills
like
were
the
really
best
fun.
I've seen in like a slasher like offshoot in a really long time.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like there was I'm just gonna get into spoilers now. If you guys don't want to hear, you can skip. But like there was one where she cuts the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off in half with a table saw.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It's fucking insane. And props to like both Vince Vaughn and the girl who played Millie, I think her name was.
Yeah, Millie was her name.
Yeah,
she's also the girl who you said looked like your sister.
She does look a lot like my sister.
Paranormal Activity 4.
And it was really funny because I saw her in this movie. I was like, that girl looks a lot like my sister. And I said the exact same thing about her in Paranormal Activity 4. So she just looks very similar to my sister.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the end of the story.
Yeah. But so she did a really good job with like the blank sociopath look. Like it was convincing enough that they had switched roles, like switched bodies.
Yeah, she was very good at like that menacing silence.
Oh yeah, very good. Which is perfect for like a psychopathic killer.
Oh yeah,
you know, like it was great. And Vince Vaughn also did a great job. There is something so funny about like old men like who have to pretend to be young women. We saw it with Jumanji.
Oh yeah, Jumanji.
When Jack Black had to play the hot girl.
Yeah,
which is so funny.
This is one of the highlights of those movies.
Yeah, like Jack Black is hilarious and just oozes charisma. I don't necessarily think the same thing for Vince Vaughn, but he did a really good job in this movie, and it really showed. And and the movie very much benefited for it.
Yeah.
So and like even like the cast of like secondary characters like her friends. I don't remember their names at all.
Yeah,
but
neither do I.
But they were really memorable. There was like the stereotypical gay character
who had such great lines.
Like
his
freaking snappy writing,
really good.
Yeah, and like he got some of the most laughs out of the entire movie. There was some like goofy shit, like cops would always show up on the scene and like shoot their gun in the air in front of a whole bunch of kids.
Yeah, it was wild.
It happened like 3 times.
Yeah.
And like they were like around all these kids and were just shooting. I think it was supposed to be like dumb and funny because like why would they ever do that around kids? So that was pretty goofy.
It's like, yeah, like, and even like there was a scene where right when Vince Vaughn had stabbed her with like the magical dagger, and like the cop runs up and like sees
stands on the bleachers and shoots her gun in there. It's like, why wouldn't you shoot him?
And it's her literal sister.
Like that's just gonna make him run away. Like you shoot your gun in the air. I guess like okay, like the plot had to happen, so you can't just have her shoot him. I mean, you could like he survives bullet wounds later in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like
you could have had him.
There could have been a great thing where she wakes up and like she's in his body and she has a fucking gun wound, and so she finds out that she's a serial killer but needs medical treatment.
Oh yeah, that could have worked too.
Yeah,
there's a lot you could do with this. It's very, very fluid, and they did a very good job.
And they established that they had like a police sketch of him very early in the movie, which was great because he was always having to be incognito. He was wearing the Tony Romo mask or whatever.
No, it was Aaron Rodgers. He had to wear an Aaron Rodgers mask, and which just added another like layer of fun because Millie's in the body of Vince Vaughn, who is a wanted serial killer and has to like run around this small town. Awesome.
Yeah,
just so many fun little chase scenes, so many little jokes like at the expense of our characters. So it was great. It just like such a cute little movie. It was so good watching a new movie that I didn't hate.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know when exactly this one came out. I think it
came out in August or September, maybe November.
Yeah. I can't believe we didn't hear about it, but we might have talked about it and just like never watched it.
Yeah, luckily for me, I was just scanning through some like best horror stuff, and I saw that and I was like, this looks fun. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh my God, this is Happy Death Day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it had all of like the stylings of Happy Death Day, which had a not like revolutionary style, but a quick style. Yeah. And like just like a knowing style.
Well written and competent goes really far.
Yeah. Well, these movies have this director specific. What the fuck is his name? I can't remember. It was something look it up.
You blather on and I got it.
Yeah, like it just goes to show you when like you have a competent director and a competent script, specifically script, like you can actually get a ton done.
Christopher Landon.
Gotcha. Christopher Landon. And I want to keep seeing him run with these crossover movies because they've been really good.
And him in the director seat's really great because he does have some really great writing credits. He did Paranormal Activities 2 through 5.
Some of the better ones, I think. Yeah. I think there were some like misses in there too.
Yeah, for sure. But he also did Disturbia, which I think is kind of an interesting one because I remember that being really memorable when I first saw it. I haven't seen it since then.
That's the one with Shia LaBeouf. And it came out the same year that the Rihanna song did.
Disturbia.
Yeah, that one. And so probably completely by mistake, but but yeah. So Freaky was an absolutely fun movie. I'm really glad we watched that. I hope that they make a sequel or that they continue with this this genre bending type ordeal because it's been working really well.
There are a lot of movies that you could just mash together.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of these like 80s trope movies that get remade over and over and over and over.
You could just fucking pick them out of a hat. You could be like, I mean, even you could just be like, okay, it's the Fellowship of the Ring, but it's a slasher.
Come on. I think the point is no, not like high fantasy genre shit. It's like the simple ones. It's like the Groundhog Days or like the Breakfast Club would be a good one.
Oh,
Breakfast Club, but it's a slasher.
Yeah,
that might get a little tired.
Yeah,
but
Riverdale, but it's a slasher.
I'm surprised Riverdale hasn't had like a slasher season yet.
They have the second season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one we skipped. To watch the third season.
That's what you skipped. I have watched all of Riverdale.
Isn't in the fourth season they like build a rocket and like a guy goes to space or something?
Yeah, cult leader goes to space.
That's fucking sick, dude. That show is so
perfect.
It's like a next level. Like just like what kind of dumb shit can we write in there? Mm-hmm. Success. So let's get to our theme for the movies from 2021. I think we should just review them in the order we watched them in, because I can't wait to talk about Real Steel.
All right. I also think that Johnny Mnemonic is the one that I have the least to say anything.
Oh, really? That's probably the one I have the most to say about.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, let's take a break real quick. Yeah.
Holy shit.
So we took a quick break and watched the Van Canto Battery. We've been discussing how into it they are, and how like just so earnest they are in this performance, even though it's the dumbest thing.
Like Napalm Records I told you, Napalm Records wanted the very small subset of like heavy metal theater kids.
Like I knew those kids. And then
Batari.
he says Batari, dude. Batari. And the girl, I wish I could show them on the camera, but she's just like Batari, and like her arms. It's so
they do like a really bad glow effect.
Yeah, it looks like they're clearly in front of a green screen and they put them in like a cathedral. They look like youth pastors or something, don't they?
A fucking Van Canto review podcast now.
Just like I don't understand how they're so earnest about something so dumb. It like amplifies how funny it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
like, if they just did it and they were like, yeah, we whipped this up, and like didn't care, and they were just like in like it was like a cafeteria.
Yeah.
Somebody shot it on their like NV2 cell phone. You know, that'd be kind of cool. It's like, hey, they whipped something up. They acapello'd.
Yeah, if they like did it
Batari,
in like
but like because
dude, they were playing on their Bataris and they're like, wait, I have an idea.
But like it's so overproduced. And like one thing like I don't understand is why someone would ever listen to that instead of just listening to Battery by Metallica. Like there's no plus. Like you lose quality going to acapella. Like it's cool once for like the gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, like, is it cool ever? But
no,
okay.
It's not. But if you're someone who thinks acapella is cool, it's cool once for the gimmick, and then it's just like, well, I guess I already know the rest of the song, so I guess I'll skip to the end. Unless some guy thinks that's awesome. They're he like gets chills, and he imagines himself at the high school talent show going
yeah, that'll get me the ladies.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
So we're talking about Real Steel.
Yeah, great transition. Speaking of battery.
Yeah.
Speaking of batteries, did the robot have batteries?
AAA, baby.
Dang.
97 AAA batteries. There was one scene where Hugh Jackman was just in a tank top.
Pulling him out.
He's just greasy. And he had the Wolverine hair, and he was just putting them in. And then he just like halfway through, he's just like, "Fuck, these are backwards," and he had to take them all out. And then he did it all back in. They were really padding.
It was actually it was actually a third of the movie.
Yeah,
it was just batteries, it was Bataris.
It's like, Dad, I just want to play with my toy. Shut up! This is Christmas.
So Real Steel came out in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who it was directed by,
but it was produced by
probably
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it was produced by Steven Spielberg, and you can see his Spielbergian schmaltz just oozing over the brim in this one.
I hate the word schmaltz.
You know I'm right though.
Yeah,
covered in Spielberg's goo.
Goo's better than schmaltz is chicken fat.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I always thought it was like a
nope. Ooh, I
always thought it was just like a term for their stuff, like their schmutz.
Schmutz is but schmaltz is
they're like I'm thinking like schmaltz is like the oils left by your fingers when you touch like a glass surface.
That would be schmutz.
Yeah, that's more of a schmutz. Yeah,
it's more of a schmutz than a schmaltz. God, this is unintentionally the most Yiddish podcast.
But yeah, this movie was extremely predictable in every way.
Okay.
But I liked it.
I didn't.
Anyway, and we watched. No, I mean, like it has it follows the path of a boxing or a sports type movie, without really diverging at all from that. There's like a father, reignites his love for his son and they bond. There's a comeback. There's a fighting robot, all of the hallmarks of a boxing movie.
Yeah.
And they don't really diverge from that.
And they literally, my reason for not liking it is because there's one minor divergence, which is I feel that the human character element of a boxing movie wasn't really delved into in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the human character element was like his relationship with his son,
and it was like there were some like very gooey lines, just like trying to tug at your heartstrings and not quite hitting that mark.
Yeah, I thought that in general, like I think his relationship with his son was kind of weak because like at the end of the day, he like was paid. He didn't really ever reconcile the fact that he was like paid $100,000 to like take care of the kid.
Yeah.
Like,
that never really happened.
But like, but for the love of boxing and this.
So there's always like the falling out, right? Like there's the meteoric rise where him and his son, get the robot and they're like killing it in fights left and right. The robot's kind of its own character, but it's a lot more subtle. I feel like there's like an alternate script where the robot had more of a presence.
Yeah, because they were like inferring that he's like intelligent and like
knew like what they were doing, but they never really like touch on it. There's like one scene where the kid like learns to hang out with the robot and the robot like helps him like run around town or some shit.
Yeah.
And but they never really get around to it. And I think that would have been in place in a dumber movie. Like it kept giving like, especially since it was 2011, it kept reminding me of Transformers.
Mm-hmm. I think in a smarter movie though, they never would have even inferred it.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing, because it's really like clear that like if it really takes into some moral considerations when you think that this robot is self-aware and they have it controlled by a controller and cause it to fight potentially to the death in a death match with another robot that may also be self-aware. Little like dog fighting.
Yeah.
Which is a little gross, but I think that might be why they cut that stuff. If they did. This is speculation. We don't know.
I mean,
like
I feel like they wanted to put it in to make you like care about the robot, but then they're like, oh, then we have 3 characters you're supposed to care about, and you care about almost none of them.
Yeah.
Like the really weird part about this movie for me is they at one point give like a really hackneyed justification for like why robots box, and it was like.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, like the movie has to happen, but it took place over too short of a time frame. It was like the movie came out in 2011 and they were saying that by the year 2020, human fighting was completely gone because in place of robot fighting, because people wanted to see more violence or something. Yeah, they wanted to see it in a fight to the death,
which is like kind of confusing to me because robots don't feel pain.
Yeah, it's I don't know if the violence is necessarily about the pain. That's a little sadistic, but
it's a little sadistic. But like their literal complaint was like, oh, they aren't able to fight to the death, so maybe they're a little fucked.
Yeah, it's pretty gross to begin with. But like I don't know, like the beats, while sappy, I think is the word that I really was looking for earlier. Work. This is definitely a movie theater blockbuster. It's definitely a Spielberg movie, and it's definitely okay. But I don't know. I found myself pretty impressed by the visual effects, especially for 2011.
Especially at the beginning. I think as it
there was
darker tones. Yeah.
The more indoor lighting didn't look as good, but like the first fight with like the Hugh Jackman, our main character, starts off by fighting, like his robot fights bulls and like at rodeos and shit, and
which is fucked. Which is actual animal cruelty.
Yeah, we were like, that's pretty fucking uncool. And like somehow the robot was supposed to win, but these are fights to the death. So I think the robot was supposed to kill the bull. And so they never really get into that because the robot loses. The robot had to lose. I mean, come on. Otherwise the movie wouldn't happen. But but those effects in that first scene looked really good.
Yeah.
Like the sunlight was like directly on. I wonder if it was like a first movie where they tried out some different kind of like light rendering or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But it looked awesome. Like it had like all these like rusty spots, and the paint was like aged, so it was all like matted.
Yeah.
And so it like absorbed the light rather than refracted it, and it looked really cool. But it started to look less good as they got into like the interior lit shots, which weren't as impressive. But yeah, I mean, like the overall for a movie that came out in 2011, I would say the effects are pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, what else?
I mean, yeah,
Should we talk about Hugh Jackman and how good his American accent is?
it's pretty good.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's better than
It's
half the other accents in the movie. Oh,
Yeah.
can we talk about Anthony Mackie just like saying the fucking dumbest gobsmack shit?
Yeah. What was he saying?
He's just like, oh, that mother's a brick house. Like, it was like shit like that.
He was like hyping up the one robot fight. And he was saying like really dumb crap. He was like, oh, I can't remember what it was.
It was all just so cringe though.
And we're like, oh, wow.
And like, why is he in this movie?
Yeah, he's Anthony Mackie. Been in a ton of movies. He keeps surfacing in movies that we didn't know he was in. Like that happened like in a different movie we watched, or maybe I just made the joke. It's Anthony Mackie, and it wasn't him.
That sounds like every joke we make during a movie.
Yeah, so
it's like to the extent where like we forget when actors are not in movies because we saw. Avery's like, remember that movie where Topher Grace was jacked? And I'm like, no.
I think we made a joke about it because I legitimately thought that there was a movie where Topher Grace got ripped. But I think there was a different movie where there was a guy who looked a little like Topher Grace, but he was jacked.
Called him Topher Grace.
We just called him jacked
movie.
Topher Grace. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's got to be what that was.
That's classic.
Yeah. So I can't remember what that movie was either.
Nope.
We'll probably never know. There's probably a record of us talking about jacked Topher Grace on the podcast.
Yeah.
That sounds like something we would bring up.
Super fans, let us know.
Yeah, seriously.
Tweet at me.
If you can remember which episode that is, we'll give you one for the story buck.
Yeah.
Worth 1/1000th of a cent.
Nice. You're really coming up and just pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, exactly. Just listen to all of our episodes again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have a lot more to say about Real Steel.
Yeah, neither do I.
I think in terms of like story plot, it was boring.
Yeah, I mean, like, like it's set up very early on. Hugh Jackman's character is a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a kid who he doesn't know or really like and tries to sell him for 50 grand.
It was technically 100 grand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
50
but
grand
50 up front. Yeah. And so he buys another robot that's like, he keeps losing over and over again. Like he just like, it's like kind of sad because he keeps getting excited and getting new robots and like they keep getting their asses kicked. And we're like, dude, like you gotta stop. like this is not good.
And at one point he just steals all the parts to make a robot from a junkyard. And I'm like, dude, fucking pay some bills, my guy.
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
50K. Bet on someone else's robot fight.
No, he spent 50K on the Japanese robot.
Yeah, I know. He should have just gone to the fucking junkyard.
Yeah, he should have just built one instead of spending 50K.
Yeah, like
he could have spent 5K on getting some like working computer parts for a robot and then built one. And then like imagine how big of an upset it would be if this guy just built this robot and kicked ass.
And like also then he could have paid his rent to like Evangeline Lilly, whose character was like, all I care about is keeping this gym open and you're not paying rent. Yeah. And then they're in love dude, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We were like, dude, you gotta get your stuff together.
I'm never in love with people who owe me money.
That's the one prerequisite.
If you want to be my lover, you can't owe me
back.
Cash.
You like the Spice Girls song.
Owe me cash.
Yeah, so I don't know. The gym was supposed to be Evangeline Lilly's dad's gym where he trained boxers at,
including Hugh Jackman.
Including Hugh Jackman, because Hugh Jackman, it's set up early on, was a talented boxer, but never made it all the way to the top and got the big one.
Yeah, the big buckaroonies.
Yeah, so that's set up so you know that that's going to happen at the end and that he's going to manually take control of the robot. They also set up that the robot has like a mirror mode for like training.
Yeah, because he was a dummy bot. Oh, and then they had so many shots where it looked okay when Hugh Jackman was shadowboxing when the robots were in frame. But
when they panned to him and did a tight right on Hugh Jackman, it looked really goofy.
Oh my God, so
really goofy. And it was so weird, like, because context matters so much in visual situations, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like them choosing to not show both of them at the same time. Like I could have seen like in a more energetically edited movie, I could have seen like a split screen, right?
Split screen. Even like a really solid over the shoulder shot of Hugh Jackman.
They did a couple of those though.
Yeah.
And those were the ones that were cooler because it gave you perspective.
Yeah. Where you could see like the mirror mode where
and like he would do things like he would like shake his head and the robot would shake his head and then he'd like reload his biceps and the robot would do it. Like that shit was like cool.
Yeah.
And but like when it was just Hugh Jackman just punching in
like
the air
so high.
Well, the robot he was fighting was a lot taller. Okay,
yeah, I know,
but you wouldn't know based on perspective. so like it looked really silly.
He looked like
they should have done like I could see like a energetic split screen with the one frame coming up and the other coming down and then like meeting in the middle and then like just something dynamic. Could have been
almost like edited like a fucking Scott Pilgrim fight and that would have been great.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Like some more. They needed an Edgar Wright on there.
They did,
right?
Yeah, whoever was in charge of the cinematography, kind of uninspired.
Yeah. So I don't know, but also they were trying to make a pretty schmaltzy blockbuster, if you will.
Chicken fat.
Yeah,
Get
exactly.
That chicken fat.
It's a Spielberg movie. It's not gonna break any new ground. But it's gonna be palatable at the very least, and that's like the best review I can give for Real Steel. So I don't know. I think it was on some streaming service. So
Netflix.
So if you got some time to kill, which you probably do, Real Steel isn't a miss necessarily.
It's definitely entertaining. Is it good? I'd say no, but I would say it is entertaining.
Definitely entertaining. And there was like moments where there was some heart there, and it worked for a little bit, and then it gets a little silly. But there you go. There you go. For a movie that I had really low expectations for, pretty okay. What did we watch next? We watched Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
Yep. Keira Knightley, Steve Carell.
Name a more iconic duo. They've been in so many movies together.
Adam Brody was in it.
There was a whole bunch of people that were in this. Gillian Jacobs, Gillian.
Yeah, T.J. Miller.
T.J. Miller was in it.
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah. It was like, it started to feel a little like rotating cast of famous people. Yeah,
it's like every comedian who now does a podcast was in this movie.
Yeah. Including us.
Yeah. I played The End of the World.
This movie was very much like a greatest hits of all these people. Like they were driving to somewhere kind of indeterminate. Like I think they had a goal, but I can't really remember what it was. And then, we'll get to the premise in a second, but they were driving somewhere indeterminate. They would stop, see these celebrities that you recognize, and then they would get back in the car and drive to another location where there are other celebrities they would hang out with.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like that. But it was cute. So let's, Ash, why don't you lay down the premise?
All right. World's fucking ending, bro. All right. They got like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or some shit. Right.
But they end up like changing it later where the
meteor comes early.
Yeah, the meteor's like, he's there early.
There's a meteor coming. Steve Carell's a sad sack. He's really Dan in real life. His face is fully on a stack of pancakes all the time.
Dan in real life. I saw the movie in the theater.
Dude, yikes.
Not a great theater movie.
No. And his wife leaves him and he's just like still working his job selling insurance.
Oh, that was some of the most pathetic shit.
Oh, so
like he was going into work because he had nothing else, and like everyone at work is just like totally like they have like a meeting with all of like everyone that's still at the company, and one lady's just bawling uncontrollably. The guy sitting next to him is just like, "Oh my god, none of this is worth it," like something like that. He's just like, "It's all over. I hate myself," and like all this stuff. Yeah. And like the boss is like nervously going through papers like everyone's doing great.
Who wants to be the VP?
Yeah. That's what he says. Who wants to be there's a job opening for chief financial officer. Who wants to be the CFO? It's really like that stuff all worked really well. It's like people grappling with the reality that the entire world is going to end and there's nothing you can do about it.
But out of nowhere, he meets Keira Knightley.
Who lives in the same building she does, but they've never met.
Yeah. And she's introduced in this really great way where she's like crying on the fire escape. And
no, she's introduced before that, arguing with.
She is, yeah. But introduced to Steve Carell, I meant.
Yeah.
He opens the window. He's like, "Do you want to come in?" And she's like, I won't rob you if you don't rape me. He's like, sure.
Like, okay, deal.
Yeah, and they become fast friends as a riot uproots them from their home, and a letter from Steve Carell's One Who Got Away it finds its way to him from Keira Knightley, and they go on a trip to get her an airplane back to England because she's using her normal British accent, which is great.
Yep.
God, I love Keira Knightley. Keira Knightley was my first crush. Fun fact.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you.
Yep, the Pirates of the like it is
Specifically Pirates. She was like 17 in that movie. Did you know that?
makes sense.
Yeah,
I was younger
pretty
than
young.
that. But I actually was having a discussion with someone about this. One of the most confusing things in the world is her boobs in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Why is that?
Because she has yabos, but she's a flat-chested woman.
They show early in the movie how she has like a ridiculous corset on.
Yeah, but that wouldn't do that. It had to be some crazy contouring.
I don't know, man.
Or CGI.
Corsets are like painful for people. Like they did it all for beauty. Beauty at any cost, I always say. Avery says here looking like a schlubby moron, like a schlubby podcaster. I haven't had a haircut in like 2 months.
I don't know. My head stubble's out on display right now, so I can't really fucking talk
Beauty
shit.
at any cost. I have like nose hairs poking out.
Just like a gut is hanging out of his shirt. Damn.
Aesthetics.
Aesthetics. That's what's written on his stomach that's hanging out of his shirt. There's an image for you. That's not what's happening.
So yeah, she wore a corset.
Yeah. Well, that still doesn't explain a lot of things. All right.
And so they're off on an adventure because there was a lot of driving in cars in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also heart there. There was some cute stuff here and there.
They really, they got to know each other fast and quick.
Yeah, and it really was like what I liked. It was very innocent. There wasn't any like ridiculous whirlwind romance stuff.
Yeah.
Like they like kiss, but it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, and like I feel like the relationship they have, when they have sex after the diner, it's kind of out of nowhere because it feels so platonic, and I think that they kind of achieved that really well.
Yeah, it just like it seemed to like make sense and fit for their relationship. It didn't. There wasn't any like. So, like the thing is that in a movie where the entire focus is on two characters seeking a friend independently and come together, like their relationship has to feel real or there's fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's what they did right.
Yes.
Specifically. And that's why like I said, there's a revolving door of celebrities and they stop. It's all about like showing what this relationship does when it's in front of these ridiculous scenarios. And that's all worked pretty well. It reminded me of Zombieland a little bit.
A little bit of Zombieland. Like,
do you know why?
Because Jesse Eisenberg had a very similar sad sacky energy to him.
Oh, well, no, not quite. But there was a good guess. It's because they find like his ex-lover's like parents' house and it's empty and they're in that empty mansion, which is like exactly like the scene from Zombieland.
That's fair.
And it was even like lit similarly. It came out around a similar. No, they didn't come out. No. Zombieland was like 2009. I think this movie was like 2014 or something.
Yeah, I think it's 2012. Maybe.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting,
similar enough.
Interesting similarity, yeah. And what I really liked about the movie was, obviously the ensemble of Keira Knightley and Steve Carell actually worked really well. But
yeah, they're both like good performances, good enough for this.
Yeah, I think that they did a really good job of like as they're meeting people who want to do different things now that the world's ending. Yeah, they really do a really good job without actual dialogue of indicating that those characters aren't interested in those things. So like a really great example is Patton Oswalt just talking about fucking. He's just Patton Oswalt, him, he's fucking, all right.
Yeah,
and he's just like, they don't care about getting pregnant or diseases, nothing. And he's just cleaning up, and Steve Carell just like chugs fucking codeine cough syrup in response. It's just
that's right.
He
gets a dog. The dog they named Sorry.
Yeah,
because he's chugging codeine cough syrup and passes out in a park.
He drinks Windex and then he passes
that's
out.
right. He drinks a bottle of Windex. He goes to the store, buys a bottle of Windex, and you think like, what's going on here? And then he drinks the Windex, passes out, wakes up. There's a note on his chest that says Sorry, and a dog like looped around his foot with a leash.
And so the dog's name is Sorry, which I think is great.
It's cute. And what I really like is like their whole world is like falling apart. Like the city is descending into chaos and like all this stuff. And like there is like a good like moment of desperation after they escape. And like Keira Knightley's boyfriend gets left behind really quick and he's just a total loser.
Yeah.
Like there was something like he said, he was like, what was it? He was like, is this because I let you pay my share of the rent? Because it took a lot of confidence or something like that to let you do that. Yeah. Something like totally like just the shittiest, most gaslit bullshit.
He immediately like thinks that she's sleeping with Steve Carell when he comes to grab them and save them from the riots. Yeah. And one of my favorite lines of his in there is like, is this because he has a job?
It's just because he has a job.
Which I think is so funny.
Oh, Mr. Big Job Man. Ooh, look at me. I have a job.
Ooh, job. Ooh,
ooh, job senpai.
Job senpai. Yeah. I love that. I fucking love that, dude.
So it's cute. Like they go around and they go to like this like doomsday prepper guy's house who's like an ex-boyfriend of Keira Knightley. Mm-hmm. And like
they get a smart car.
Yeah, he has like a fleet of smart cars. Keira Knightley specifically refers to, she said, can we borrow one of the fleet? So it's a known thing between these two that he has like several smart cars, which is weird. Yeah. Like you'd think like a doomsday prepper type guy would have like, I don't know, like a Hummer or something, right? Or like some giant military. Like, I'm surprised they didn't go down that route. Yeah. But no, he just had like all of his bros were like in the basement and they were all like playing video games and he had like big ass cans of beans and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah. And like guns and like, I guess smart cars are kind of a smart move in a post-apocalypse.
Yeah, they're little. You can kind of get them around.
Well,
anywhere.
Also like, you don't know what your access to gasoline is going to be.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to have gas for a longer amount of time.
Yeah, and
that's a good point.
I think they're a hybrid motor, so if you have
probably, I don't know.
I think so. But yeah, any kind of a hybrid electric car, especially one that you could plug in, would be because you could be good. If you're running a fucking bunker, you probably have a generator that you could use to recharge it.
Ah, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, you just put gasoline in the generator.
All right. But you need that generator for other things like light and making poo-poo pee-pee.
So what I like is that Steve Carell's character is very established and like, you know how he's going to react to things. And he's not like, he's just sad and lonely. He's not like pathetic, which I think is good.
That's
and so like they go to her ex-boyfriend's house, who's like this big meathead dude. And they, instead of like, he just like rolls off like with it.
Yeah.
He like thinks like, okay, she's going to stay here and I'm going to have to continue on my own. Like, like that's how it is. That's how my life is. And he just like the way he interacts with those characters, I think is really telling.
Yeah.
Cause they're pretty cartoony. But yeah, that Seeking, it ends like pretty sweet. He, his dad, Martin Sheen, is, who is the father of both Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez.
Which I didn't know, and Avery likes rubbing on my face.
That's right. You didn't know, but now you know.
The dad stuff made me cry because Steve Carell played a harmonica, and then it says like,
"Oh yeah, from my dad" or something like that.
Like for my favorite little cowboy, love dad, and I'm just like
love daddy,
just like crying, and I'm like, people should have their dads and parents.
Yeah, it was pretty cute. I like how like Steve Carell's character doesn't like dwell on all of like the dad stuff. She just kind of picks it up along the way. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Oh no, come on, cat.
Yeah. So that's I think that's a fair assessment of that entire movie.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
The last movie of the week.
The last movie of the year.
Wow.
Johnny Mnemonic. Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Teutonic.
Johnny Platonic.
Johnny Molonic.
Johnny Poblanic.
Johnny Moronic.
Yes. Johnny Mnemonic. This wasn't our first or even third choice.
No, Avery, the other two films that we were looking at was
didn't pan out.
Mars 02 and the other one I forget.
Yeah, the other one we really couldn't find. And the Moon 02, I think you found, but we were like, let's not watch that. I think it's like really old.
Yeah, I left it up to you. So you were like,
we decided to go with Johnny Mnemonic, and solely because I saw somebody post something about it on Twitter. And I was like, oh, that does take place in 2021.
Don't tell them how we make the sausage, Avery.
Secret sauce. So yeah, Johnny Mnemonic is a cyberpunk science fiction movie thing starring Keanu Reeves and no one else.
That's not true.
I mean, it's starring other people, but Ice-T is in it.
And Dolph Lundgren.
Dolphin Lundgren. And
You'll
also
get what that means later.
Yeah, exactly. And so Keanu's in it. He didn't really have any excellent direction, but that's okay.
When does he?
Yeah, that's fine. Everyone loves him anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie's basically, it takes place in a dystopian 2021 where corporations rule the government and all this other stuff that you actually see in your everyday life. and people have computers in their head and people run data over 320 gigabytes of data.
Well, that's an unusually large one.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a virus that infects people.
There is a virus that is causing, it's called NAS or something. It was spontaneous nervous destruction disease or something like that.
Spontaneous blowing up dudes.
Yes, exactly. Spontaneous combustion disease.
Spontaneous boom boom.
It's called the big bada boom disease. And it's totally nothing like COVID-19 at all.
No. And honestly, it's not really in the movie.
Yeah. They bring it up for world building and it comes back around full circle at the end.
They do a fucking Star Wars title crawl at the beginning of this movie, which is kind of
that was really
choice.
common in science fiction movies back in the day. It's still kind of common in science fiction movies today.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of world building to unpack really quick, and movies don't have a lot of time to dwell on that stuff, except unless it's a monstrous movie like a Blade Runner, or a Blade Runner 2049, where they have the runtime where they can do these long shots to establish the world really effectively. But in a quick movie like that, they kind of got to unload a whole bunch of exposition really quick. But yeah, it is a little Star Warsy. But they establish all of this stuff about the world. I think it's really interesting that it predicted that there was going to be a virus that's encircling the globe and causing economic debilitation
and low techs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The low techs, which are the gang members.
Yeah,
that
they're
are living on this.
Yeah. And Ice-T has fake dreads that look really bad.
Yeah. He looks
Is it Ice-T? All the ice.
It's
Ice-T.
It's Ice-T.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's Ice-T. This was before he was in Law and Order SVU, which I think was several years later.
Okay.
But
yeah, this is 95, by the way.
Yeah, 95 for your reference.
Yeah.
So 2021 sounded like the far off future.
Yeah.
Which was something that I really liked about a lot of this, is how all of these predictions that they made were just not there.
Yeah.
Just not there. It's
Some of them were kind of close.
Yeah, the one that was the most close was the amount of data that Keanu Reeves had to transfer was 328 gigabytes, which isn't a huge amount of data nowadays.
No.
But we were talking on our walk back from the gym. That's a lot if it's in your brain.
Yeah.
But back in 1995, 328 gigabytes would sound like an insane amount of data.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that's just the new COD game.
Yeah. I'm trying to think I'm trying to think if they do any kind of electromagnetic transplants into the brain nowadays with modern medicine. And I'm trying to think
I don't think not the brain. I know the heart, I think there's pacemakers and stuff like that.
You can have mechanical valves and stuff. But I don't think we do that with the brain.
There's also cochlear implants for deaf people where I think they insert something into your brain or something.
I don't know enough about cochlear implants.
Neither do I. I don't know exactly how that works, but I do think it's pretty impressive. I remember years ago on the Discovery Channel, there was they showcased this in development technology that allowed people who had lost their vision to see again by reconnecting some nerves or something, but it was very limited vision.
Yeah.
But it would actually worked, which is kind of cool. I wonder if that's progressed. I'm sure it has.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. The reason why I ask about brain implants and stuff is just because I'm curious, what kind of size are we looking at so we can try and gauge how realistic 328 gigabytes.
Right. But I mean, you see my computer there.
Yeah.
Do you see underneath the graphics card, that silver thing?
Yeah.
Underneath that is a smaller PCB that's like a millimeter thick, and like it's about 2 millimeters tall in total, and that's a terabyte.
Yeah,
and it just plugs directly into the motherboard.
Yeah.
So like storage is very small nowadays.
Yeah,
and so they kind of got that right.
Yeah.
Like you probably would be able to fit, I mean, it would be crammed in there, but you probably not too far off. You'd be able to fit storage inside somebody's like cranium, you know, and like the scale of the amount of data seemed kind of, you know, realistic for 2021.
It's not too far off.
Yeah. And so they were on the right track.
I mean, it's more 2014, but
yeah, 328 gigabytes would have been a lot in 2014 still. But yeah, so
yeah.
So yeah, that stuff was cool. There's a guy who has a thumbnail, and when he pulls it off, it makes a laser whip or something.
Yep.
That was like the coolest effect in the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not saying a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So it looked pretty good.
The costuming was also fucking awful.
The costuming was really goofy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the biggest mark missed.
They had fucking a lady in chainmail, and I was going, what?
Oh yeah, that was the lady. She looked like the woman that was in the Hellraiser movies. And I can't verify that, but it's around the same time. It could be her. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not going to look it up.
No, I know that Henry Rollins was in this movie and played the most boring character, which is funny because he's like a punk legend.
He's from Black Flag, and he's a terrible actor.
Oh my god,
so bad. He was like an NPC in a video game.
Doesn't help terrible. That he kind of has a dumb face shape where it's like
he does have a dumb face.
Just like his face shape is like that of like someone who used to be an Easter Island head, but like became sentient.
Yes, that happens all the time too.
I've seen the documentary Night at the Museum and Night at the Museum 2.
Yeah. So Henry Rollins was there, and he's like there for a second and dies immediately, and then like they take him to like a secret medical place for the low techs or something. Because nobody has health insurance. Yeah. The low techs definitely don't.
I mean, they're barely people in this world.
Like only rich people are people in this world.
Well, like it's like there are like the Yakuza is in this movie.
Oh yeah, and they're so poorly represented.
And then the low techs, and like everything else in the cities is kind of not populated.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Just really not decrepit, but very abandoned feeling. There aren't
deserted.
Like just normal citizens.
Yeah, there's not like
everyone's on a faction
walking around, you know.
There's no like middle class people, but the middle class would be dissolved in a dystopian cyberpunk.
That's
world.
fair. The world felt underlived in, I think is what I'm trying to say.
They like almost get there with a lot of the cooler. See, they sacrificed a lot of that for time, probably.
Yeah, it's a shorter movie.
Like a lot of that because they had a plot that they had to hit, and the movie was only like 90 minutes, and so it's like. Yeah, I got to give it like that. You know, it's like they didn't have time for those sweeping, dramatic, lived-in shots like you get in like a Blade Runner 2049.
I want to just say that yes, they did, because they at one point had Keanu standing on a pile of rubble yelling, "I wish I had a Snickers bar right now."
Oh yeah, that was like the only characterization his character got. That was like it. It was like his character was just so dull and just so nothing. Like explain Johnny Mnemonic's character in a way that isn't his job or what he looks like, or that he wants a Snickers bar, because that's cheating.
Okay, so
because I know you were going to say that.
He's a guy who loves a girl, but his
chainmail.
His job is in the way.
Oh, okay, all right.
None of that actually pays off in the film.
None of it pays off. So
like they make out once, and I'm like, then nothing happens.
I don't even remember that. I don't even remember them making out.
Oh, well.
I was probably out of the room.
You missed out. Wooga.
Oh, yeah. Sheesh. You lift your collar and like steam comes out.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren's in this. He plays like a guy.
What did he play? What was his character's role?
He was crazy.
He was a crazy hairy man who just would show up. He would show up and what happened? He incinerated himself at the end, didn't he?
Yeah, he died by getting electrocuted.
And so we have to talk about the biggest twist in this movie. They get to the low-tech space, I think, because they ally themselves with the low-techs because Prowls rise up. Like, we get it. Yeah. And then they have they have a cybernetic dolphin in an aquarium that has the ability to send out sonar waves and destroy the Yakuza?
I think he was going to send out the information.
Oh, that's what it was. Because Johnny Mnemonic is carrying the cure for the virus in his head.
Yeah, and like they very half-heartedly and like without really describing the gravity of what's happening are like, yeah, this is the discovery by the pharmaceutical companies, like farm map or whatever the fuck
it was like called. Pharmo or something like that.
Farmcore.
It was something like that.
Cottage core. But like, and they're like, and they were hiding it the whole time. And
in Johnny Mnemonic's head. And it was the cure to spontaneous combustion disease.
It was spontaneous boom booms.
Big blow up disease. The big bada boom.
The big bada booms.
The blue, what has Jar Jar Binks said? Ooh,
big boomers.
The big boomers disease.
It was, I think it was spontaneous. Batari.
Big Batari disease. So
Big Batari.
So the dolphin does the thing. Dolph Lundgren shows up.
Why would you have a dolphin and Dolph Lundgren in the same room?
Biggest mistake they made. It's a huge mistake. Like, what were they thinking? It's so confusing.
They should have done a manatee or any other whale.
Yeah, they could have done a manatee. They could have done, any other. Well, I mean, how are the low-techs going to get a whale into their aquarium?
How did they get a fucking dolphin in there, dude? The fuck?
At least a dolphin is like a little more realistic than them getting like a humpback whale.
What if they got a porpoise?
Yeah, a porpoise would have worked. Yeah. They'd probably communicate via sonar
or a
too.
seal.
That would have been pretty cute though.
But then they would have had to change.
Seals are too animated. They didn't have that kind of technology to animate a puppet of a seal.
But listen, get rid of Dolph Lundgren. Seal plays the bad guy.
I do love Seal. It is temporally
he does have really
consistent.
White teeth.
Yeah. Some would say criminally white teeth. No, his teeth are beautiful. Don't you dare talk shit on Seal's beautiful teeth, okay?
Oh god, this is a Seal's teeth podcast.
The only Seal's teeth podcast. Yes.
The only podcast as white as Seal's teeth.
Damn.
Roasted.
That is good. That's really good.
Damn it.
But yeah, so the dolphin does the thing.
Transmits the signal. They get like the code to get it out of.
And then like, I guess it's like implied that everyone's just like waiting around for the data, like the biological data to create a vaccine for the virus. Like it's just like a string of like DNA or whatever, right?
Yeah, and like, oh no, Henry Rollins is dead. He's the only doctor we've seen. So who's gonna fucking make this?
So it's just going out to nowhere. It's on the internet. It's like dropping like the cure for COVID on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's just like, here it is, everyone. Do what you want with it. like they're just like, people are arguing like,
actually, this doesn't look like it would work.
Yeah,
trust me, I'm an accountant.
They're ratioing the vaccine, the COVID vaccine.
Do you have anything else to say about this movie?
I don't know. It's whatever. It's fine.
All right.
It was like, so I made the mistake of seeing how bad it was before watching it.
Never do that.
And
it's such a bad
movie. It has like a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. We did get some good laughs out of this.
We did get some good. I also do not actually know the plot of the movie.
I can't really remember.
Kind of guessing. Honestly.
Yeah, we are kind of guessing. It was kind of hard to follow. Things weren't really laid out very well, despite having a title crawl, which is pretty much where I've gathered all of the information that I know about the movie. So
we don't know who Dolph Lundgren was.
Yeah, he just like kind of came out of nowhere. He was supposed to be like an emissary or a self-proclaimed like emissary of God or something.
Yeah,
and he was like
a messiah or something.
Yeah, self-proclaimed and was totally nuts basically. And he was just showing up and ruining shit all the time. It's like really all I can like glean from that.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed like they had a movie and then Dolph Lundgren wanted to be in it. And so they just wrote him into it.
Yeah. Because the Yakuza were the bad guys.
There's no reason for him to be there.
Yeah.
And then I don't even remember. I guess the Yakuza also shows up at like the low-tech space.
Yeah. But then he gets sad because his kid died from Batari.
But oh no, there is the one thing when Keanu and the Yakuza guy are hanging off of the bridge, he like pulls out his laser whip and cuts the Yakuza guy's head off, and a comical dummy just falls.
They did
from
a
the
couple comical dummy drops.
There was some silly dummy drops in this. Probably the best parts of the movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
We were like, damn, some high quality special effects. This movie felt like a movie that came out like 15 years previous, didn't it?
Yeah. It also felt like it was 3 hours long.
Like, I think it was like the next day we watched Fight Club, which is just a really quality movie.
Yeah.
And that came out 4 years after this movie and it looks decades better.
Yeah.
It's kind of like unreal. And I guess it's just like how much farther a budget can go nowadays for cheaper movies. So
yeah, I mean, even just thinking
dated.
about like how okay, like Freaky wasn't like anything amazing, but like for considering it's fucking a quarter of the cost of Johnny Mnemonic, like I know that
and looks like 10 times better.
Like I know they weren't doing any CGI, but like still,
neither really was Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, they weren't. They had the one like they had the 3D dummies in cyberspace.
There was all that stuff, which like is really goofy in retrospect, but was probably pretty cool in 1995.
I can't imagine when that would have been cool, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, you know what? I do have to take into consideration this is after Jurassic Park. Had like really good looking CGI that like still holds up to this day. So I don't know. They got a little too trigger happy with the CGI and it looked pretty dumb. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. And he has like the VR hands and he's like looking through stuff and like swiping on his Tinder
like,
profile and stuff.
Literally just reminds me of the episode of Community where the dean gets.
It's like the exact same thing. Yeah. I think that's like been replicated a couple times.
Yeah.
Something similar to that. Because that also reminds me of Minority Report. Where they have something similar where Tom Cruise is like doing all this shit.
Hate it. Let's get into our last segment. Yeah. It's getting late.
Which one? Let's fuck all these movies. Let's review Freaky.
Yeah, hell yeah. 5 words. Rating out of 10. Should you see it?
I'm gonna say cheap movie, dank script, wango.
Okay. Damn. Yeah. Throwing a wango in there.
Yeah. The movie, it's not perfect. But it's really fun. I don't remember where we found it. Do you remember where we found it?
It's on Asher's Plex.
Damn. So see if you can find it on a streaming service. You might have to pay for it, but it's worth it because it was a fun movie. It's for being so cheap. I don't want to like overrate this.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like the first good new movie I've seen in months. But I want to be realistic because it isn't perfect. We didn't really talk about many of its downfalls, but there are some slight ones here and there. But like, I'm gonna give it a healthy 8 out of 10.
Yep.
It feels like that solid B movie that everyone needs right now. We don't need Wonder Woman. 84.
Yeah.
We need more freakies in this world. So yeah, I would absolutely recommend it. How about you?
Vince Vaughn. Vince Spawn.
Damn.
I don't get it.
I'm guessing haha was one word, right?
Yeah, haha is one word. It's like
new rule, haha has to be 2 words.
Okay, fine.
So you bought a word.
Fuck you, dude.
you bought a word from.
I brought you into this world and I could take you out.
Dude, you laid another egg, dude.
Fine.
So you bought a word from next week's review.
Fine.
So I'm gonna remember that. And by I'm gonna remember that, I mean I'm gonna forget that.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
This movie is fucking awesome. Like, it's not like
it didn't really break new ground.
No, it didn't break new ground. It's nothing to write home about. I think Avery's dead on with the 8, though. I think that's fair about where it should be.
Healthy, solid movie.
Yeah,
like totally like enjoyable, funny characters. Like brief moments of hilarity. We forgot to mention when the crush boy, because Millie has Millie has a crush at her high school, and he's like a total normal kid, but he ends up like roped up in the whole serial killer plot.
Yeah, and
like he's sitting in the car with Vince Vaughn, and they do a scene where they have to like pretend to kiss.
Yeah,
and they kiss. He's like, I kind of want to kiss you right now.
Is that
the
weird?
Crush guy.
Yeah.
Is that weird that I want to kiss you? It's so funny. And just putting like Vince Vaughn in like weird situations like that is hilarious.
It's like honestly making Vince Vaughn uncomfortable makes this movie.
He seemed uncomfortable and it was awesome because like if you were in somebody else's body, you would probably be pretty uncomfortable.
Also, it's about time someone took Vince Vaughn down a peg.
Yeah, damn right. Oh,
yeah.
dude. I just love the way they made him look so gigantic.
Yeah, that is such a good movie.
Because I didn't notice it until you said something, but that was like the entire way the movie was shot, was to make him look like just titanically large. Which he's not. He's a normal sized person. But next to all the kids, he looks huge. Yeah. So, but yeah, hell yeah, Freaky, go see it in theaters near you. Probably not.
I think it was in theaters, but not anymore.
It probably was, but not likely anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, we will see you guys next week. We got some fun sluff.
Yeah, I don't know what we're watching.
Yeah, neither do I.
We'll figure something out. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts if you get the opportunity to. We love you so much. Goodbye.